I am McGinty's son, Keller, and it is my honor to say a few words on behalf of the family. Our family gathered last night to talk about Dad and swap stories, and we all agreed that his life really exemplified the fruits of the Spirit, with special emphasis on kindness, faithfulness, and gentleness. We also thought his character was a perfect match for the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Dad was all of these things more than anyone else I know. Many of you would recognize those fruits of the Spirit in his work as a physician. Dad loved his work and spent a lot of time at work. And you might think we children would resent his absence, but it was telling to hear from each of us that we are to this day so proud of the work that he did as a doctor and the difference he made in our community. I think our view of Dad at work might best be summed up in a Facebook response we received. I began my nursing career many years ago at what is now Rapides Regional. There was an angel that walked among us each day, Dr. McGinty. He was always the gentleman doctor and delivered his healing skills with a smile for each of his patients. Patient, kind, and humble. I still work at Rapides, and after all of these years, I can almost see that sweet smile and the gentleman strolling down the hallways. God bless you all, and know that he stood head and shoulders above the rest in the hearts of the staff and those that he served. That's our Dad, a true gentleman. Dad was also meticulous, persevering, and very detailed. And these showed up in his many hobbies. Throughout life, Dad had a number of hobbies, doubly so after he retired. He was an ardent fisherman, going after the tough ones. The bass and the red snapper, I think, were his favorites. Once, being very persistent and focused as he was, he won a fishing tournament on Toledo Bend Lake, bringing in the biggest bass, a small bass. He won because he was the only one willing to stay on the lake during a superstorm that nearly capsized him. Dad's meticulous and particular nature were evident in his love for model building. Dad told me that as a child, he and his friend hand-built custom box kites made of paper and wood, had multiple strings, they could really fly them around, and they had razor blades on the end of the kite to cut the string of the other guy and win the contest. In high school during World War II, Dad and his classmates helped design and build little model airplanes that went all over for the armed forces to help train soldiers how to recognize the good planes and the bad planes that flew in the air. And I believe he actually won an award for one of the bombers that he designed. Later, he designed, built, and flew model planes, first with little wired controls that you spin in a circle, and later very large remote-controlled airplanes before all this drone stuff came about. He built to look exactly like a real airplane and flew them with great pride. I remember him teaching me to fly the wired planes in a circle, and I remember getting so dizzy I would fall over and crash the plane and build it again and start over one more time. I think the same traits needed for model building drew my dad into the woodworking and antique clock restoration phase. I doubt anyone in our family is without a table, a toy, or a clock that he built. Each item took forever to build and was always built to perfection. Sturdy, long-lasting. Whenever I look at things he built, I think, that's my dad. I think Dad's dry and often slightly mischievous sense of humor is my favorite trait of his. My kids always recognize Granddaddy when they come up to me and say, "It hurts to breathe," and I say,
"Don't breathe."
Or my knee hurts when I bend it, and I say,
"Don't bend it."
Dad also loved hymns. He was always humming and whistling, and he was a good whistler, really good whistler. And I think one in particular was his favorite. And that's blessed be the tie that binds. Don't know if y'all remember that one. You'll find it on page 426 if you were to look in the hymnal. But you won't find the verse that he taught us as children. And his verse went something like this. I know how ugly I are. My face ain't exactly a star. But I don't mind it, 'cause I are behind it. The guy in the front gets the jar. When that came up in church, every once in a while, all the kids on my road just died laughing, and everybody looked at us with those crazy McBrides. But that's my dad. Actually, probably his more favorite verse would be Holy, Holy, Holy on page 3, if we could all actually grab your hymnals and sing that together.